Greetings of peace to everyone. So we welcome you to our third session of the positive thinking course. And we wish that you really had even a slight difference of how it had helped you in a way, even just 1% of how our thinking have changed. Because what we are doing normally in the day is really thinking and thinking and thinking. The question is, what are the thoughts that we plant in our mind? What are the thoughts that we nourish in our mind? And then it will grow, and then we take the fruit, we plant the same thing again. So it all starts now with being responsible and having the right choice of the thoughts that I choose to plant in my mind. So let's go for the third session. And let's see that with the third session that we are going to take up, it will, if I'm doing the practice, it will definitely help a lot to move me and to put me into the path of positivity, the path of positivity. Okay, so allow me to, so I hope everybody is doing fine. Yeah, so nice to see you and join us once again. So let me have the PowerPoint presentation. So here we have the materials so that we are able to connect. So it's quite different when we are doing really with this kind of method of presentation. It's really just it would be good to see your faces around how it is, no? When we are having the physical interaction. But nevertheless, we are so thankful that we are still having this material to be able now to connect and to be able to come up with these practices that really help us. So, empowering the self, positive thinking on our third session. So for today, this is our objective. Our objective is to understand and experience my true higher self and how this awareness helps create and maintain positivity. And also how this kind of awareness helps us create and maintain positivity to become aware and then become aware of the roles, the labels that I carry on, and how it, what is the effect of this awareness in terms of doing the role, having all of those things that are around me, which I thought at the beginning is the one that is bringing negativity. So this is a very important consciousness, very important thing that I have to really put my focus into. And if I do my practice on this, then it develops that kind of anchor, it develops that kind of foundation. So whatever role, situation that comes, I'm able to come up with a choice of positivity. Yeah? So this is what we expect. And very important foundation and anchor that we are to have if we would want to move on to positivity. And later, if we are so grounded into positivity, it's not all about being positive, but also it grounds me and puts me further into, elevated thinking, elevated action, and into the highest consciousness and highest action that we can do. So let me recall with you these two very important and beautiful illustrations that we had previously. So one is, as from the previous discussion that we thought, and I hope you had this realization, that situations come, situations go, but the way I look at these situations is very important to be able now to form the thoughts and later on the feelings that I would have and relate to towards the situation. So now with this session that we have, it's all about knowing how to move from the lowest step. I go into a higher and higher and another step. So previously, perhaps I would say, okay, I am like this, my nature is like this, because simply I don't know how to move on into another step, or I don't know that I have another step that I can go to. We thought that this is the destiny already that I have, and we just wait for situations to change. But no, it's all about perspective. It's all about how I look at and relate to things, to situations. And one very important thing that actually influenced me, again, situations out there are there to just as the way it is. Depends again on the perception. And repeatedly coming up with that perception, it will have now to form that anchor and that foundation, which would be our belief. And of course, most of the time, whatever belief we have, we thought it is the truth. And we thought that that is how things have to happen. So this is where we come up now with feeling frustration, feeling, negativity, because it's all about that I'm frustrated, that situations don't happen according to how I want. So that's how I get irritated, because this is how I want the situation to happen. But what happens is, it will not happen that way most of the time. So if I get fixated into this, it should, it must, okay, I am coming up with something else that I myself may suffer later on. So the good thing about the beliefs is you can always, and we can always come up with a change. And later on, it's actually not about the change, but, slowly getting rid of these beliefs that no longer serve me. So it's not to hate them. It's just to accept that at this point, I need to come up with upgrading of my system. It's now to come up with what I can do so that I can relate and I can be, let's say, more relevant to people, to situation. But if I get fixated into something else, situations move on in different directions, and I would just have the thinking it has to be like this, I will be left behind. Okay? So it's all about innovation. It's all about what I can to be able now to relate and to be able now to match the situations that come. So again, upgrading, taking a look at the beliefs that serve me, does not serve me, what I can, change, what I can do something about. And definitely this is within our choice and control. And also, okay, this very important image, as I've said, no, we cannot control about situation that comes. We cannot say, stop it, okay, well, it's good if it is like a movie that we are watching, and then you don't want the scene, you can fast track, no? Escape that, possible. Or if you want that particular scene in there, okay, you can put it in that still mode, okay, and that's the kind of thing that you would want to see. But no, the play and the drama that we are in keeps changing, keeps moving. So, okay, I have to come up with a way by which I'm able to move on in the way that I still maintain that the joy, the peace as I move along in this life. So things come, thoughts will come in terms of what we see, in terms of what we hear, and a lot of things that we have there through our senses. It will be planted in our conscious mind, but depending again on my understanding, how my intellect is working. So this is where I have the capacity to just reject, deflect the thoughts that do not serve me. So it's very important that I have to develop this kind of filter, this awareness. Okay, so in that consciousness of going higher into looking at the situation, being able now to manage and see what thoughts does that serve me. So remember the thought watch that I told you, that if I am into waste thoughts of waste, I should be able to observe, stand back, and then come up with what are the thoughts that I should be able now to plant, because the mind will always have to grab on. You know, it's like the cow that will always choose something. You will always have something to give so that it will always have to choose something. The same thing, how the mind works. I must always be ready with something that I have to put in, because it would always have to chew on something. If I am not able to put a particular thought that I truly wanted, what happens is the mind will go into the subconscious, the subconscious will take over and will suggest something that it thought that you want, which is based on that repeated thinking, kind of thinking that I have been doing. Because the mind will not know what is good and what is not. It's my intellect, it's my understanding that will work and that will find out what is good for me, what is not good for me. So it's just like now this automated. So nothing is coming in there. So I will have now to choose into the files that we have been using, I have been using, and it will have to open that file because we are focusing on that particular thought, and it will actually trigger those beliefs, those kind of things that we memories that we have in our subconscious. And it comes in an automated way. So that's why we find ourselves sometimes that how did it happen that I have come up with this feeling and emotion? I did not intend it to be like this. Why? I was not quick enough to work on my filter, and the power of the subconscious, it is very powerful. Okay? It's going now just now to erupt. It's just going now to come up, and it will work in there. If I don't come up with a way, the SOS, to steer it in a different direction. So how does this go? So from this discussion that we have, we will integrate what we are taking up, what we will discuss, what we will realize now, and see how it goes with changing the pattern of wasteful thinking. We're not always coming up with negative thinking, but what comes there is most of the time our waste, not really negative. So, but if I'm not careful with this, it can always go to negative thinking. So let's see how it goes. So first, the riddle of all time. This has been a question asked by the great minds previously, and now with situations that we are in and where we find ourselves, that in spite of the advancement of technology and what we have, let's say, accomplished on the physical level, then the question is, where are we and who am I? We might have been lost into the world that we try to explore, and it will always come back to the reason why I am in this world. So it will always go back to that question, who am I? Which is being raised now with the situation that we are in. We are in a world with a lot of problems, a lot of negativity, and so on. And we don't want to be in this kind of world. This is not the kind of world that we would want. So the question now is, what went wrong? How am I going now to deal with this? How can I be, in my own way, be an agent of transformation? And I guess from my experience, it all starts with having the question of who am I? If we were asked to, if we were to ask Siri, okay, and ask the question, who am I hope Siri will give the question. But the question, the answer to the question is actually deep within. So let's take the usual scenario of what happens with our identification, the who am I. When we ask the question, who am I, like now, so I was looking at the list of participants that we have, at this point. So we have, yeah, I hope to see we have Ziadi, Dipti, Alham, and several of you. Okay. So I get to see I get to see your names. And in our identification, in our cards that we usually put in our ID and so on, it will always contain the name. By the way, I am Sister Vicky of the Bahrain Meditation Center. I'm one of the teachers here. Normally, we identify ourselves with the name. I am Vicky. I am Elham. I am Mushkan. I am Dipti. Okay, all the names that we have in there of who I am. But is that my identity? We can change the name. So that means that is not my true identity. We can always change the name. We always have a process of changing the name. So if I can change that, that means that is not my true identity. What about my job? So you can see in the illustration here, the different attachments that we have to hold on into or to define the I, the me. So next that we would talk about to identify ourselves would be the job. I am the manager. I am this with the job. So a lot of job. But again, can I change the job? Definitely. I can always move on to another job. So that means, again, this is not my real identity. Your leisure, your hobby, my this, my that. Again, same thing. I can always change. Family. Yes, okay. You cannot change the family, but the family and you are two different entities, definitely. So like here, the hand, okay? The hand and me are two different entities. But I say my hand. So if I say my hand, in terms of this physical, which I used to identify, it means that there is an entity still that is different from the hand because I say my hand. So still, this is different from from the I who is talking. The status, the culture, my possessions, all of these things. So we don't have so much time to deal with this, but I think you're getting the point, no? That the I is completely different, as you can see from all of these attachments that we have. They're all attachments that somehow, let's say, relate to that consciousness that I have. And that is what's supposed to be I bring to my job, I bring to whatever leisure things that I'm doing and so on. It's supposed to spill out from the core of my identity. But at the moment, what happens is why we are going now into anxiety, why we're going up with a lot of these negative emotions is because I am identifying with the false I. I identify with my job. So if I hold on to that job, because thinking, which is true, but temporarily, it's bringing me security, it's bringing me happiness, it's bringing some kind of that attainment, of that kind of self-respect. But if I hold on to that, if it goes, my happiness will also go. So I hold on to that. But the truth is, it will not be there forever. So if it goes because I hold on, and I always give that kind of analogy, anything that I grip. And if it goes, I feel the pain because of the grip that I do on what I hold on to. But if whatever is with me that stays on there, if it goes, I may have the feeling that it goes, but I don't have that same pain that comes when I am onto grip of to something else. So if it goes, I get the feeling. And then something will come, something will go. Let's accept the fact that we are in a world of change. We are in a world of temporary things that are there. We are in a world where there is what you call now the expirations. So as we go for shopping, we always check on what is the expiration of these things. but in terms of things that we relate with. It's good to be aware that I cannot hold on into anything with me forever. Also, if I'm doing that, I come up with a very close, thinking mind that this is how it is. So I'm not able to enhance my creativity, the newness of the experience that comes along. Why? It's all because of my holding on. And most especially, insecurity will always be there. And this is where we come up with thoughts of fear, thoughts of losing, thoughts of what will happen, and so on. A lot of things. Why? False identity brings insecurity, and that insecurity will always fund and will always bring about the cycle of the waste and negativity. So what do we do? So you just have now to move on with, if you will be interested with this, what happens is, because this will be like one session that can be discussed, you can join in the meditation course also. So this is one of the things that we highlight. So now, so to reflect that, am I in that mood, in that consciousness of the I, the job, I, the leisure, I, the status, holding on to these things. And that is the one that is bringing certain negative or wasteful thinking because of that insecurity. And our nature is always to bring about security. But the thing is, we try to put the security with the insecurity. So we will be caught up in that cycle. So this is how it goes. To identify and really to understand and to reflect, who am I? Who am I? I am a non-physical being. So there are two entities, but they have to be together so that we come up with the right experience. We come up with the purpose why we are here, to have that right expression, that right thing where we will put the right energy into whatever we are doing. So the question is, who am I? A non-physical being. Non-physical being means I am that point of energy. So as you can see into that illustration, that energy of light that is found in the center of my forehead, it's an energy. And we cannot see the energy, but we can sense that energy. Who is talking? I am talking through this sense. I am seeing through this instrument. But without that really living being, that energy that I have within, even though the body is there, if the living being, the true being that is there, the being is not there, I will not hear anything anymore. Okay? Because it has gone. So no matter what you do with that body, if the being, that light, the soul, the spirit is no longer there, it's not going to relate in a way with whoever would want to relate. So in other words, we need this instrument, but in this instrument, there is the non-physical being, which is actually the core of my identity. A non-physical being. It is a very powerful energy of light that is located at the center of my forehead. So if you are going to get focused into that and just imagine that energy of light at the center of your forehead, you can just sense that energy that is being agitated. But even though you don't, it's okay. You don't have now again to focus into that and get that tension. But it starts with that knowledge, that awareness that the true I am is not this status, is not the job, is not the family, is not all of these things material. And that's the one that creates insecurity. The truth about me, where I can develop my true self-respect, my self-esteem, and my confidence, is that truth about me. I am an energy. I am a beautiful energy of light. So further, what is embodied in that essence of who I am? So in the awareness of a non-physical being of who I am. So I am independent. I am free from influence. I am detached. So if I have the stability of the truth about that non-physical being, that is when I say I am, that presentation that I had last time is, I am a being of peace. So I have to be very clear about that non-physical being. What do we mean when we say non-physical being? I am a being of peace. It's not just a thought of peace, but it is being stable in that moment when I say I am a being of peace. So the focus into that, into this thought, which now allows me to just be into that, though there are things happening in there, but I allow myself to be anchored and to be grounded into this one particular awareness and consciousness. Another is what is embodied into that being, peace. Another is purity. So children, if you see the children, I've been giving this, I think, as an example before. If you look at the children, they are so attractive. People get attracted to them. Why? Because of the purity. When they were babies, when they opened their eyes, there is no judgment, I guess, that will come. Oh, this one is fat. Oh, this one is ugly. Oh, this one is like this. No. What they see in there is the way it is. There is no judgment. It is just the purity of the soul also. They don't have any judgment in them. That makes them so attractive because of the essence of purity. So if I always remind myself that I come from that pure state and all the things that I have are acquired, which brings me into the state of some kind of sorrow or those things related to it, then I can always come back. This is a way by which I can steer back my mind into a certain level of thinking that serves me. So I am a being of peace to start with. I will be stable on that. I'll be aligned. Then all rest will come. I'm a being of purity. And then I don't have to struggle so much to open that energy and to reflect on the energy of love, one of which is mercy, one of which is kindness, one of which is compassion. So a lot of things included in there. And we remember the moments when you were merciful, the moments when you were so kind, the moments when you were so patient. All of these things emanate from the truth of who I am. Being of happiness. My truth is happiness. My falsehood is unhappiness. Sometimes I say, come on, you have to show your true self. If you are unhappy, be unhappy. No, I am playing the role of unhappiness. My truth is happiness. See, what do you want to upload in the Facebook? A picture. So you get a selfie, you get your picture. So what are these pictures that you want to upload in the Facebook? Is it the grumpy face? Is it the angry face? You don't want to be caught up on that. Immediately you will delete these things. Why? We want to come up with these images that show my happiness. It's not, let's say, being false, but actually that is true. Why do you want to show that it's the truth about us? Because the nature of us supposed to be is joy, the joy of life. Look at the kids again, how they are. So they are expressing joy and happiness so spontaneously. They don't have to read a book. They don't have to learn how to be happy. And actually, when they go to school, when they grow up, they are actually going into learning how to be unhappy. So we lose out that truth about the joy and the unhappiness that we truly would want. Look and recall The moments when you are so feeling so good, it is the moments I think when you were younger, when you were young, when you were kids, where we are just bursting with that joy of life. Why? There are no other thoughts that come. Of course, when we grow older, what happens is we come up with thoughts about what will I have for my family and this and that. So the petals that come in there in that image that I've shown you will grow more and more and more. But the thing is, we cannot remove these petals. But the thing that we can do is to go into the eye. Sorry. Okay, there. No? So go into the eye. So you have all of the petals that go along that are attached to the eye. So what I can do in this power of this thinking is to put my thoughts, be stable into the truth about the I that I have mentioned. So we emerge this energy that are included in that spirit that I am. And then once I am stable into that, so that energy is what I use now to bring how I can do my role in the family. If I'm a mother, how I can be a mother who is peaceful, a mother who is truly loving, a mother who is truly happy. So to just do the role as happy as I can. Of course, there are moments that maybe we forget. But the point now, when we are into this is, I'm able to come back. Very important. So not to cause any tension when we catch ourselves going again into waste or into negativity. It's just a matter that I forgot into automated, just like some mannerisms that we have. Some things that I say, uh, I say, okay, maybe. But this comes now from what? From, let's say, from the unconscious. So it's just being conscious that what am I bringing out into my relationship in general? What am I bringing out into my leisure? What I'm bringing out into my job? Is it the truth about myself? Is it the truth of joy? Is it that love, that purity? A lot of things that we can put in. Just to start with peace is more than enough. So if I'm just working, doing my job so peacefully, that is more than enough that I can contribute into whatever I have. Because thoughts will always radiate certain, there will always be vibration. The first vibration that we have is the feelings that come. Feelings are my internal vibration. And as I am anchored into whatever feeling that I have, naturally it's going to what? It's going to radiate in there, like a Wi-Fi. This is always open, that Wi-Fi. Whatever is the consciousness, it's going to vibrate out there. It's like an antenna. It's always vibrating something else. So it's a question. So when I'm coming up with something like unpleasant feeling, so that means I have come up with a thought planted there which does not relate or it's not in alignment with the truth about my being. So it's just a message telling me that stand back, SOS, stand back, you observe and you steer. Come up with a steering process in a positive, in a very positive way. So there. So with that awareness of who I am, as I've just said to you, I become independent. I become free from the external influence. So if I really put myself into the true self-respect, so if they come up with some comment about you or a situation there, if I am grounded with this so much security about who I truly am, I really experience this, then I can look at that situation as a kind of a challenge. I can look at a certain comment as a kind of a feedback. I can look at that this person cares that I can do better. So I don't look at it in a negative way. So this is how I can change my perception. And I can practice and looking at that situation because my filter is a different kind of filter anymore. not what they're going to tell about me, but it's because of how does this relate or in alignment with the truth about myself. And very simple that I have to keep. What is the truth? I am a being of peace. To always start with that. I am a being of peace. So whatever situation out there, what I can reflect on, what I can do to be able to enhance my peace, what I can contribute through my peace to make the situation better. So the situation is negative, I realize that. But the positivity and pure thinking, it will go further than positivity, but pure thinking is from my truth about myself, from the trust that I told you about myself. Then I'm able to bring out what is very relevant, what is beneficial, what is good for the situation, what is good for me. And as I've said in the last quote that I've given you, then I start living. I really experience the joy of living and the others. So you get detached means get detached from the negativity that comes so I can give something free from the influence out there because I am aware that I have a lot of this very powerful and very positive and very pure and let's say divine influence that I can. So what is the experience? If I have the stability of this mind, I can be happy, others can also be happy. But the thing is, really to be aware and aware and aware of this higher level of consciousness, just like in that picture, as I've said, we can go down and down into the level, but realize I can always go up and up again. So if I keep on practicing this, then I become stable into a higher level of consciousness. But it needs practice and practice, a lot of positivity in my practice too. So a lot of kindness into the effort that I am doing. So there will be no tension into my being positive because it can create that kind of tension. Then we say, oh, positive thinking is not working. So never mind about the positive thinking. No, just to be patient and just now to move on. So the truth about myself, if I go into the truth about myself to come up with that self-respect, to be grounded into this very strong foundation, I own nothing. Because if I grip into something, this is where my tension comes. This is where my waste will come. So I own nothing because my identity is that point of light. All the things that are in here are just instrument for me to express. Anytime it can go. So what is the logic in here? I own nothing, then I don't lose anything. Then this is where I am creating my sense of security. Then there will be contentment. So in the science of these frequencies, they have shown that to go into higher level of this emotional or frequency level, which is love, which is joy, which is compassion, we have to start with a level of contentment. If I am not into contentment, the nature of me is to always address into something that is empty of me, that I think I need to, that I want to. So I will always go into that. So I cannot be in that giving mode. I cannot be into the experience of that higher level of frequency. So again, this particular awareness, this particular way of looking at things and reflecting, come up with this, to remember this. I own nothing. So we don't hold on into something. The attitude is like this. It's a matter of attitude. Things will come that we need. Definitely, this is the thing. I think you have experienced this. No? At the right time, things will come. At the right time, things will go. At the right time, things will come. So I can be in the present moment of how I can use things that had come at this particular moment. And since I use that up in the right way, what happens again, it can go so easily and that thing will come. So really, it's that faith that when I'm doing things in the right way, universe will conspire with me. There will always be a cooperation that but if I will be in that stability and coming up with running after another into that negativity, I will not be in that state of stability to be able now to be clear, the clarity of what is there for me that will serve me best and the others. So what are the ways by which I can be stable into this? Because at the moment they come and go. So when we talk about positivity, it will be here. Positive, there's always negative. But the question there is to be grounded into this, that there will be no contrast already. So I will just be in the state of alignment. So one is meditation, that awareness that I am a spirit, a beautiful spirit, and this body that I have. And so there are two entities here, but they have to coexist in that way, because without the body, the soul cannot express. The soul cannot create in this physical dimension. Without the soul, then like this body will not have that energy. It's like a mobile phone that has no battery, so it will just go flat. So I will always be in that awareness, but I am not this body, I am this energy that uses this to express peace, for example. This body is made up of 5 elements that we have here. Therefore, it is subject to change. It is subject to expiration. But a soul in this body is imperishable. It is an imperishable point of light. So this will be a beautiful way and a beautiful, powerful thought to start focusing into the thought that I can use for meditation, which we're going to have later on. But meditation does not mean that you just have now to do that stop and coming up with that. No. Meditation also means that to be aware and to choose the right thoughts that I have, and to be stable into that as I am doing things, as I am talking, as I am cooking, as I am sitting down and doing my report. So meditation means to be stable in the thought that I choose. It's the art of choosing and putting, nourishing that right thought that serves me best and others. So mind, you have to come up with a way by which you trick the mind. Because mind, especially the subconscious. So if I don't have that capacity to like nourish it and to put that newness of that new positive and pure thought that comes, it will always grab on into something that is already saved in my subconscious. So when I'm doing meditation and I'm doing some kind of reflection, it's always good to come up with images. So the image of myself. So image of myself that I have now to keep when I'm doing meditation or I'm thinking about myself will be think of pictures that serves me best. And it has to be in the now moment. So use the power of visualization. If I already visualize something negative and I focus into that, that is the energy that I put out into the world. So always during my time of reflection to put images, because that helps me to get focused and to make that reality out there. They say the mindscape, to fix. So as I slowly go on into one particular thought that I plant, this is a flowering seed, that is a fragrant seed, like what we do in the garden, the same. So I always have that pause moment to choose. Is this the right seed that I put in my mind? So it's going to grow a beautiful, fragrant garden of flowers. So you can create that garden of flowers that are there by which everybody can benefit the fragrance of it. Which means when I put out there, it will be the fragrance of peace. It will be the fragrance of just purity, positivity. So what happens, I do that, I get grounded. The inner qualities that I have told you will emerge. The same thing, actually, the same process. So the bundle of thoughts that I use when it is thoughts of fear, what happens? The experience that I have will be a lot of fear. So it's the same thing. I am using the same framework. I will use the same framework. But the question is the content only. But the focus will be there. So I focus now into what? That belief and that awareness, understanding that I am enough. I have all the qualities that I'm trying to search out there. I have these main qualities with me: peace, purity, love, happiness, wisdom, power already. But the question is always to connect with this inner potential, again, through my thinking. So if I go into this practice of being peaceful, thinking peaceful, I will become that. Why I have become so irritated, why I have so become into fear, into worry, because I keep on practicing, criticizing, commenting unnecessarily. So since I have been practicing and practicing this, what happens? This is what it becomes of me. Yeah, some thoughts maybe of like the past will come. I have to deal with that. See, one of the things that you have now to do into this practice is, okay, so I will address that question. No? So you have love, wisdom, all of this should be my sense of experience. Yes, there are some other thoughts that will definitely come because we have been so used to that. So what happens when I go? So again, when we go now into this, give myself that space that I am into a step-by-step process. One thing is to accept that it will come. And the other thing is not to hold on. So remember, okay, you can hold on into something, you can open that up, but don't keep it there. Don't keep it there. You want to let go of this. So I want to let go, it's there. But it's not going because, see, if I turn my awareness in that way, this will automatically follow. So the excuse will be because we are so accustomed to things that are not in there, even though we're aware of, but I want to experience peace at least. Check what are the thoughts that come. They're so accustomed, so thoughts of about painful past, unpleasant past, even happy past memories. If I hold on to this, I'm not able to create a different kind of happy experience. So it's all about the practice and the habit of always holding on into the past. So some powerful thought that you can put is, but the fact is, the past is past already. So I would just be probably not going anywhere if I allow the chain of the past to hold me back. So come into terms with that, but it takes a lot of that grounding into love and to peace and to the relationship of the Supreme. So that in that center that I am, I'll be able to come up with a higher perspective and be able to look at the situation in a different way. The question there is to disidentify with that. Because what is so painful is I think I am that experience. It happened already. That is already past. So if I'm able to release that, I'm able now to look and focus my energy into something that I can do so that this can slowly dissipate. So this can slowly fade away into the picture, into my focus. It may be there, but it's not going to disturb and come up with influence. And if ever, there would be like an influence, maybe lesson, that look at it that there is a lesson that had taught me, because it is past of me to be able now to bring me into this kind of state. But to a certain extent, not to think about I should forget the past, but I would say to focus more into what I should do to be able now to use this present moment, and then automatically this will go. Another powerful consciousness that should go would be like this, no? So positive self-talk, that's what I am having. One of the things that we can apply and been using is having a third person. Like, don't say, I had this painful past. Look, maybe you can come up with your name, like you imagine that you're a different one. Look, Vicky, that was past. Would you want to come up with a better future? Would you want to have a different thing? Vicky, if you always put the past in your frame, that is what is going to happen. So Vicky, you decide to move on or to be in that. Of course, I would say I'll move on. So it's like you have to look at yourself. Another way is look at yourself in bigger than the situation. I look at myself as bigger than my past because I'm in the present and I'm not that experienced. I can always come up with a different action. The ego comes and tells you, see, like this. But again, see, positive self-talk. There will be that image of that, remember that kind of the devil and the angel? Now, the angel of you, you are the angel. That truth about yourself, the belief, the positive belief that you have that will serve you, that has to be something that I will have now to steer my thinking into, to practice that and come up with a third person. Because once you have a third person, positive or negatively, what happens is it's easy now to be detached and come up with the right perspective of how I am going to, the clarity of how I'm going into the right choice. Because if I get to have that kind of involvement easily, the emotion, and most of the time negative emotions can come into picture. Of course, it's always a practice that I have to do and to keep trying and to keep trying to go into positivity, not to there. I have had several cases of people saying, but the past is the past. Yes, the past is the past. But choose. You want to release the past or you want to carry the past all along? Okay? Just have to have the choice. I can just put that bag of the past somewhere in there at the moment. If you don't want to because it has been a part of you, just release it and see the lighten of the burden that comes with you. When you go to shopping, well, now it's not applicable. City center, see what happens. If you get even a 500 grams that you carry with your hand and you keep on going to the different shops, only 500 grams. That 500 grams can become like 1 kilogram and you will get pain there. But it's only 500 grams. Why? I kept holding on to that. I kept on that kind of position. It's the same thing. This is just a matter of how many grams. But 1 hour I hold this, 2 hours I hold this, what happens? It becomes heavier, heavier, and heavier. So same thing with the mind. So if I load my mind with a lot of these things that are not necessary anymore, then it becomes overloaded. The tendency is just to succumb. We are so powerful still that in spite of that, we're able to come back. So think of yourself bigger than that situation. You are more, actually, you are bigger than that situation. You can always come back to that. So other things that can help in, into steering, easily steering into that SOS is gratitude moments. If you catch yourself, if I catch myself coming into commenting, complaining about a certain person, about that situation would be, I will ask the question of what will be a learning experience that I can get from that? Or what would be moments that I can be grateful about? So rather than complaining about this and that, what would be something that I can be grateful about? So we are so used to negativity, really. But the practice of the habit of in the morning, before anything else, at least 3 items that I have to be grateful about is already enough to put that cycle of positivity into the right mode already. I am grateful that I am awake. I am grateful that I'm still talking. I'm grateful that I am under the sun. I have still some food to, to yes, there are things on there, but you can work on these things by going into something higher than the situation. If I go lower even than the situation, forget about being within the situation in there. You go lower than the situation will what? Will engulf me. So the idea is, again, it's all about perspective and my belief that I create, that I have to be grounded above and over, because I have that power in reality. Having mindfulness, as they say, that no judgment. Instead coming up with as the way it is, like a coloring thing. It's black and white. But what can I do with this particular? I have the choice to color it with white, with orange, with pink, and so on. You get an elephant figure. So it's your choice. You want to color it with pink elephant? Fine. You want to color it with this? That's how it is. So same thing. So if already have an aim, today I should come up with something positive or special that I can think about, that I can say, that I can do. So for example, the that cashier that you go there and you notice that the cashier is not smiling. So that is one thing that I can do. Perhaps this cashier, she's not smiling, I'm not also smiling because she's not smiling. I'll make effort to go to the cashier and say, thank you for being here in spite of this situation. That is a great job. Thank you so much. I am grateful for that. I think it's going to, to open something into that. And as we forget about that, but the moment that we are saying and expressing this, it gives a different feeling already. Experiment. And of course, journalizing. So sitting down and reflecting onto this and coming up into the depth of this enables me to practice to reach the depth of my being also. Because this practice go now into, as I am writing, I'm thinking, I am involving other senses and other energies within me that is contributing and helping me to move in the right direction. So that practice, I have to involve my action, because as I keep on doing things, this will help me to, let's say, to remove, delete, and to reprogram the unpleasant memories or these folders that I have in my subconscious. How did they have come? Because of what? Action that I do. So I also make use of this kind of actions that serve me best. Journalizing is a very good way. And then you go back to your journalizing, to this, and you'll find out that, wow, is this what I've written? You can draw also. So a lot of, you can make poems, you can be, you can be as creative as you can. And that's already a kind of meditation. Reflecting empowering quotes, as I've said, be bigger than the body, your body, be bigger than the situation. And see that you move on into a higher step in terms of the perception. The way you see things will be different. The thoughts that you will have will be different. The way that you feel will be different. It will be great, it will be greater, it will be greatest. So it always contributes into our evolving as better and better, not only positive, but better and better. And this is what we can give to the situation. So this is our third. Yeah, sorry for the a bit of overtime. So if you have some questions, you can just put in the chat, and then I'm going to address it in the next. And there are recordings of the past sessions, and these for the 4 sessions that will come. So should you want to go over, or anyone, then it is possible. So thank you for being with us. Stay positive, stay safe, and always have a reminder of who I am. Don't think least of the self, of me. Think of the most about who you are. So let's have this moment and make it a beautiful moment of how you relate, I relate with myself. As I am into this powerful awareness of discovering and realizing the truth about myself, I just allow my mind to be in this beautiful feeling, very safe, very secure, not intimidated, not into the state of proving, not in the state of showing that I am better than anyone. Because the reality, I am good, I am best. And anyone I see, this is the pure consciousness about me. They are also good and best in their own. So I don't have to prove anything. I will have to be in that state of gratitude that all is well. And thank you for this moment. All is well. All is good. All is beautiful. As I breathe in with this beautiful consciousness, I bring that very helpful energy within, secure energy. Have that moment to listen to this beautiful feeling. Enjoy this moment of being with the true self. So calm, so still, but powerful, so secure, and aligned with the Supreme that is in the state of frequency of contentment and peace. And all the more that I absorb this powerful, loveful energy, radiate this to this physical body, that it may always be healthy, and radiate this to the world, to nature, that it may come back to its truth and to its beauty. Om Shanti. I am a being. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I look forward to our last meeting. Please attend that. That's a beautiful discussion on Thursday. So any questions, you please just address it to the chat, and I will be given a copy of the questions. So have a great day, great days ahead, positive days. Stay safe.